Most e-com brands will actually cap their own growth on Meta and they don't even know that they're doing it. So let me explain what I mean here. And by the way, our agency runs paid acquisition for multiple 7 and 8 figure D2C brands in supplements, skincare, wellness and other CPG brands. And we've spent over $15 million on paid ads across our partner brands in the last 5 years alone. So last month, you probably picked a ROAS target, let's say a 3x, and you set a monthly budget also, let's say 50K. But if you're honest, where did those two numbers actually come from? For a lot of brands, they come from thin air. They pick them out because some guru said they're good or because it felt safe based on past results. But by going off of these feelings, then you've just put two ceilings on your account's growth that have absolutely nothing to do with whether your ads are actually going to make you money. I'm Philip. I'm one of the co-founders of AdPunch. We're a paid acquisition agency for 7 and 8 figure D2C brands, mostly consumables in the US, Canada, UK and Ireland. And brands work with us because we scale their spend on Meta further than what they've been capable of scaling before, while protecting their unit economics. In this video, I'm going to break down the one number that actually decides whether your scaling will work or not, and the free calculator that we built to work it out for almost any brand. We call it your acquisition ceiling, and it's the maximum amount you can afford to spend acquiring a customer while still hitting your target contribution margin and turning a profit on your customers over their lifetime. It comes down to one really simple calculation: the contribution margin that you make on your customer's first order when you take out all of your variable costs like COGS, shipping fees, payment fees, fulfillment, and then you add that to the profit from every reorder that they make over the repurchase window or their customer lifetime that they have with you. Repeat purchase profit is the part that a lot of brands will completely ignore, but it's the part that allows you to raise the ceiling that you have, and you can keep scaling your spend while staying profitable in the long term. For LTV-driven brands like supplements, skincare and wellness consumables, the repeat side is often doing more of the heavy lifting than the first order. And that's exactly why brands in these categories can completely outspend their competitors who are stuck thinking that their first order needs to be immediately profitable for them. There's nuance in how you work out your true profit per order. You need to take into account your real margins, your true costs over the repurchase window, but I'll break that down in a full calculation in another video, but that's essentially the shape of it. If you add the first order contribution and the repeat profit together, and whatever you land on is the absolute maximum that you can pay to acquire a customer and still come out ahead. That's your acquisition ceiling. You cannot spend any more than that or else you're unprofitable. But the thing is, your ceiling isn't your target, it's your absolute limit. It's the line that you cannot cross. If you spend right at your ceiling and you're acquiring customers at break even, this means that you've done all of the work for zero profit. So the real question isn't what's my ceiling, it's what CPA do I actually want to run at? But different brands operate at different LTV to CAC targets depending on their business and their goals. But for most subscription and consumable brands, that target will sit somewhere around a 3-to-1 CAC to LTV ratio. So for every euro that you spend or dollar that you spend acquiring a customer, you get $3 back in contribution profit over the lifetime of that customer. The point is that you should have a target and you should know how to work backwards from it in order to find your target CPA. So let's work this backwards using that 3-to-1 ratio as the example. So say your contribution profit LTV over the repurchase window is $120. That's also your acquisition ceiling, the absolute most you could pay back to acquire your customer and break even. But your target CPA at a 3-to-1 ratio is your ceiling divided by 3, so $40. That CPA you'd happily run at all day because every customer you acquire makes you $2 of profit for every $1 that you spent acquiring them. Your ceiling tells you the danger line, which is $120, but your target tells you where to actually run your account, and that's $40. The gap between where you're spending today and that $40 is your target and is your scaling room. So if you're below $40, you push spend, but if you're between $40 and $120, you're profitable, but you're eating into your ratio. So anything above $120, you're buying customers at a loss. But here is the problem. Most brands that we audit are spending way down here, miles below their target CPA, because they've capped themselves with either a made up ROAS number or a CPA target. All that space is profitable growth that they could be capturing and just aren't. The brands that catch this and act on it are the ones that pull away from their competitors. Now, the sharper brands know that they can afford to lose a little on the first order because the customer comes back. And they're correct. That's the whole LTV hypothesis. But almost none of them know their actual numbers. So they either play it too safe and leave profitable growth on the table, or else they keep pushing their spend with no real limit, and they tell themselves that lifetime value will cover it, and they end up quietly spending themselves into this huge cash flow hole. Both are actually guessing, but when you know your ceiling inside out and your target, then you don't guess. You scale spend towards the target that you set on purpose, knowing that every customer that you buy is profitable over their repurchase window or their customer lifetime. So that's the difference between scaling your ad account and actually gambling on it every day. And in order to help with this, we built a free calculator that works out your acquisition ceiling and your target CPA for LTV driven brands. The link is actually in the description below. What you do is you plug in your average order value, your costs, your repeat purchase rate, your repeat purchase window, and your LTV to CAC target, and it gives you both numbers. So most brands do this and they're shocked by how much higher their ceiling actually is than what they're spending today. Let me show you what actually acting on this does with real ad accounts. So a cacao brand that had plateaued for 5 years had a founder running their ads herself because their previous agency tried and failed for them. We took over, set up the account properly around the acquisition gap, and within 5 months, their monthly revenue was up 79%, while their cost per customer dropped 37% at the exact same time. We doubled the business while they paid less for a customer, not more. A tea brand had been with the same agency for over 2 years, and on the second year, the account had completely capped. Nothing they did actually moved the needle, and we worked out their actual ceiling instead. We found out their gap to their real target CPA and ended up tripling their ad spend profitably. So their CPA still dropped by over 30%, and their new customer ROAS jumped by 78% from a 1.2x to a 2.19x. The exact same products, the exact same brand, just a different account structure and creatives. And this strategy holds at larger numbers as well. So for a supplement brand, we took their plateaued ad spend and we 7x'd it, with profitability holding the entire way, because we knew their real ceiling and we pushed towards it rather than actually staying away from it. And this strategy works for even larger numbers as well. So for a supplement brand, we restructured their entire ad account, and after 90 days, revenue nearly doubled and the order volume went up by 52%, the majority of which was actually new customers. The reason being, we knew their real ceiling and we pushed towards it instead of just staying away from it. It's not really about the size of your brand. So whether you're trying to get to 50k, 100k, 200k profit months, it's about knowing your ceiling and your target, and then having the creative and the media buying to actually go and fill the gap. Most agencies are just optimizing to a random ROAS target that they made up. So when performance wobbles, they throw random things at the wall and they can never really tell you why it didn't work. For us, we point everything towards one thing: the gap between where you're spending right now and where your target cost per acquisition actually is. That's the only number that really matters. My co-founder Pierce and I have over 10 years combined e-com experience between us, and when brands work with us, both founders are operating on every single account. None of our clients are ever handed off to a junior media buyer or employee that they've never met. Our strategists, designers, and editors do handle the bulk of the production, but the strategy and the account, that's actually always on us. We're a boutique agency for a purpose. So if any of this is hitting a nerve for you and your brand, here's what you should do. We run a free Profit Gap Audit. We pull apart your ad account, your creative production, and your unit economics, so we can figure out what your actual acquisition ceiling is, and then calculate your target CPA so that you can work towards that. You walk away knowing your real numbers and exactly how much profitable growth you've been leaving on the table. So whether you work with us or not, the link is below in the description to book. We can't obviously do these for every everyone. So if it's relevant to you, just grab a time while there's one there. Either way, go out and work out your ceiling and your target CPA. Almost nobody does this correctly, and for an LTV driven brand, those are the two most important numbers for your entire business. Catch you in the next one.